I got that California.
What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, coach of your Montreal Milotics, bringing you our draft analysis for the Banlist Battlers League Season number 2. Today, we're just going to go over our team really quickly and cover a bit of my thoughts about it and how I went about drafting this, and just kind of go over a bit of the rules of the league for you guys, because it is a league with a ton of pretty busted mons, so we're going to try and do that. But before we do, guys, make sure to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel, and check out the description for my Discord server. It is linked down there in every single one of my videos, and we would love it if you guys joined the server. But anyways, let's get into what the league is about and everything, and we'll kind of go from there. So to start off, the Banlist Battlers League is a league with tons of Ubers, tons of banned mons, and it is a point draft. We go up to 24 points, and the mons that are in the 24-point tier, there's Marshadow, Mega Lucario, Mewtwo, Zygarde 100%, and a couple of different Arceus forms. Then when you get to 23 points, there's like a couple more Arceus forms, Groudon and Rayquaza. Then you get to 22 points, a couple more Arceus forms, Blaziken, Deoxys, Ho-Ohs, Kyurem, Lugia, Palkia, and then you go down the list, 21, 20, 19, and 18. Those are the quote-unquote Ubers. Now, the way this works is, I believe, if you draft a 24-point mon, you cannot draft another mon that is at least 18 points. If you draft a mon that is 23 points, you can only draft one that is 19 points. And then 22 points, you can draft one that is also, no, it's 22 points, I think is, you can only draft one that is 20 points or something like that. And then if it's 21 points, you can do 21. You can do 21 or something like that. And I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'll leave a list of the rules down in the description if you're interested in checking it out. But we had the... Out of 16 coaches, we have the 13th pick, so pretty late in the draft, and we do have a ton of incredible competitors this season. So we have like Bill Standish, Gypsy King, we have Garchomp the God, we have Aaron, of course, Blue, who won the league last year, and there's only a few of the 16 coaches that are in this league, and their links will all also be down there, and I highly suggest going to check them out. They're all really good content creators and really good battlers, and this is going to be probably the toughest league we are ever going to be in. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. 13th pick in the draft. Pretty late, but there's one mon that I had on my mind. Well, there was two actually. First one, I kind of was interested in Xerneas. I would have liked to have it. You can't use Geomancy on the set, but whatever. So I was interested in that, but it didn't get to me. It got taken by Aaron, I think, and I ended up moving on, and I wanted to grab two Ubers. So because I decided to say screw it, I'm going to take Dialga. Now Dialga got sniped for me in the PCL, and I really want that thing there, and might as well use it now. It has amazing stats all around. Of course, it is a legendary Pokemon. 100 in its HP and special defense, 120 in its attack and defense, 150 special attack, and 90 speed. It's all pretty good. Also, by the way, I just want to say thank you to Austin, aka Garchomp the God, for the draft slides. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. You saved my ass there. Anyways, so Dialga has a ton of great coverage options, whether it's dual stab and steel and dragon are both incredible on the physical and special side. You have access to Trick Room to help you with your mediocre speed. You, I believe you get a Totemize or Rock Polish. I just want to check that. No, you don't get either. That kind of sucks, but it doesn't matter too much. You get set up and bulk up, and I believe Calm Mind? No Calm Mind? Work up? No? Oh my god, I should probably know this. But you have access to a ton of other great coverage moves like Earth Power, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Aura Sphere, and I believe you get Ice Beam as well, and Power Gem too. Maybe not Ice Beam, but definitely Blizzard. Yeah, you do get Ice Beam. So it's a really good solid mon to start building with. And it also gives me two types that I really wanted on my draft, being a Steel and a Dragon type. Obviously, it is weak to Fighting, and it is weak to Ground, which kind of suck. So I really want to make sure that I have a Pokemon that can kind of fit around Dialga really well and make sure that it is the best it can possibly be. Now, this mon was, I believe, 21 points, if I'm not mistaken, which is it's a decent amount. I mean, it's not too much. It allows me to pick up a second Uber, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So for 19 points, I'm sorry, it was 20 points. So for 19 points now, we are going to go ahead and grab Protean Greninja. Now, in the 19 points here, like I was looking at it, there are 7 mons. I've used all of them except for 2, being Genesect and Protean Greninja, and Genesect doesn't fit as well as Protean Gren does with Dialga. Greninja has 122 base speed. It's incredibly fast. It has amazing coverage, whether it's Gunk Shot, whether it's Water Shuriken and Dark Pulse and Hydro Pump, Surf, Ice Beam, Grass Knot, Extra Sensory, Low Kick, Night Slash. You name it, it probably has that type of coverage. It also gets access to Spikes and Toxic Spikes, which are very nice and are really going to help Dialga a lot, especially since this Pokemon forces a ton of switches. Now, its offensive stats aren't the greatest at 95 and 103, but Protean really allows me to boost that up, and if I pair that with Life Orb or Choice Specs or Expert Belt, whatever it is, it's going to be doing so much work every single week, and I'm excited to draft Greninja especially because you guys saw what it did to me first week of the PCL. That thing is such a huge threat. Next up though, with our third pick, I really want to grab Zapdos because my team right now is pretty weak to fighting and to ground, and Zapdos is an excellent cover for both of those. It also gives me Defog, it gives me U-turn, it gives me an electric type, which is nice, and it gives me a flying type too, so it was pretty much a perfect opportunity for me. But other than that, I was also debating between Tornadus. But then one pick before me, just one pick before, I get sniped, and Zapdos is gone. That really sucks because Zapdos was like, it would have kind of changed my plan because the mon I ended up going with was, I think, 2 points more than that. Yeah, like my mon I took was 17 points, Zapdos was 15. So it would have given me an extra 2 points to work with throughout the draft. But instead, it's okay. I went with, to me, what is the best mon in the entire format in terms of standard draft league, and that is Mew. So yes, I got Mew again. Mew is just phenomenal. Like, to me, it's the best mon in standard format because it can do so much. It can do so many things for pretty much whatever team it's on. All you gotta do is make sure that you build properly around it. And I feel like we've done a pretty good, decent job of building properly around Mew with this team. So I'm excited to see what we can do with it. I guess pretty much every single TM move, HM move, and move tutor move, so that's amazing. It also gets its own coverage moves. It is not one of my Z users. I'll get into my Z users after, but so we can't run Genesis Supernova, but it has amazing stats all around it, base 100 everywhere. It's got enough like coverage options and enough setup options to be a setup option on setup sweeper or a wall breaker or a stall breaker, or it can be just an amazing wall. I loved using Mew in the ICBA, and pretty much every single time I've had it, I've enjoyed my time with it, and it takes a lot of creativity to make sure it works out well because you don't want to be stuck using the same defog Mew set every single week and have it just be a bulky mon all the time. And to me, honestly, my favorite memory of Mew in the past few leagues I've been in was the Nasty Plot Vacuum Wave set that I used to beat Ultra, who is now a member of my front office for this league. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Mew can do for us. Again, it gives me rocks as well. So so far, all three of my mons have stealth rocks or spikes, and this also gives me defog, which is nice. Gives me Will-O-Wisp too, and it gives me a fighting resist, which so far my team had none. Moving on though to our next pick, I needed something for grass types because grass types were kind of a problem for me. Yes, Greninja gets Ice Beam and Stab Ice Beam, but I needed to make sure that I had a way to reliably hit those grass types, especially something like, I don't know, a Moongus or something like that. So I want to be pretty careful there. But I ended up going with Infernape, and the reason I went with Infernape was because it also could help me hit Steel types, which would be very, very helpful for Dialga, Greninja, and Mew. It also gives me a way to hit Rock types, and yeah, so I felt like it was just probably the best idea. And then obviously Dark types, because so far I have nothing really for Dark types outside of Aura Sphere and like Low Kick. So Infernape just fit perfectly. It gives me a speed tier as well between Mew and Greninja, which is really helpful. It means that now Pokemon that are like 121 speed or like 120 speed, they have to run a Timid or a Jolly Nature to make sure they outspeed my Infernape instead of running a Adamant or a Modest Nature as well, which is really useful, especially because my team right now isn't the bulkiest thing in the world. I have Mew and Dialga at this point, but other than that, Infernape and Greninja aren't taking very many hits at all. So yeah, but moving on though, it does have amazing coverage, of course, Gunk Shot, fighting coverage, fire coverage, Grass Knot. It gets access to Earthquake as well. There's Acrobatics too, I know that. Grass Knot, if I didn't say that already, you get Nasty Plot and Swords Dance and Mach Punch and Vacuum Wave, and tons of coverage, tons of setup. Rock Slide and Shadow Claw, didn't even notice that. Stone Edge too, and U-Turn, of course. So yeah, I mean, so far I have a pretty nice Volturn, well, not Volturn, but just U-Turn team, and it's going to be really helpful for my team, for my matchups, I think, because in this league, there's so many amazingly strong Pokemon that they force a lot of different switches, and having mons with great coverage, great offensive stats, and basically the ability to outspeed your opponent, hit them hard, or just really take multiple hits and then still hit them hard is important. And I feel like so far with our first 4 mons, we have that exactly, which is excellent. So moving on though, we then have our Tangrowth here. Tangrowth is the next mon I wanted, and I really want to, I think I was looking at Slowking and Tangrowth in this area, because, maybe not Slowking, maybe, what was I looking at? I know I was definitely looking at like a bulky water type. I think I was looking at a Regenerator mon too. I could be wrong. It might have been a little more, but I'm not sure. Anyways, Tangrowth is kind of what I wanted here, because you look at my roster, I really don't have very much for grass types, for ground types, and Tangrowth kind of fits the bill there. I mean, grass types, yeah, I have Dialga, never mind, and I have Infernape, but Infernape like dies to someone sneezing at it. But Tangrowth is an amazing ground check, especially like for all the Zygardes that you're running around. There's a Zygarde 10% and a Zygarde 50% that were drafted. There's also a ton of other mons like Donphan that was taken. So I really want to make sure I had an amazing ground type answer, and Tangrowth is that. It gives me access to Regenerator, of course, which is in my eyes, one of the top 2 best abilities in the entire format, which is incredible. It gives me really decent coverage in grass, poison, ground, rock, dark, fighting. I think that's pretty much it. Normal, and then the hidden powers as well for coverage. And just having the ability to be insanely bulky with its stats: 100 in attack and defense, attack and HP, 125 in defense, and 110 in special attack is amazing. Its lackluster speed and special defense is okay, especially because I can use an assault vest for that. And I do have chlorophyll, so in case I do want to draft a Torkoal later on, I can potentially have sun, I guess. But I don't think it's gonna be happening very much at all. Anyways, though, moving on, this was actually where I was debating between grabbing a bulky water type that had a regenerator, like an Alomomola, or picking up a fairy type, because at this point I still don't have a fairy type, and I really wanted a fairy type early on. I wanted Florges, I wanted Sylveon. I was like looking at them, but they went pretty early, a lot earlier than I expected, that's fair. I mean, 16 people, there's not that many amazing fairy types, so someone's gonna get stuck with the bad one. I didn't want to get stuck with, like, I don't know, like Clefairy, so I decided to go with Slurpuff. Now, Slurpuff I've used before in the past. I had a lot of fun with it. It gets 2 great abilities in Sweet Veil and Unburden. I mean, Sweet Veil kind of helps if you're going up against something with Spore or Sleep Powder, but Unburden is the thing you're most likely to be running because it has such a wide variety of uses, whether it's using a Citrus Berry for Belly Drum, whether it's consuming a Focus Sash to get up your Sticky Web and then hitting them hard with something like Endeavor. So it's really nice to be able to have Unburden on Amon, especially when it does have that Belly Drum potential. That Belly Drum with Unburden combination is so powerful with the coverage it gets and Play Rough, Return, Drain Punch. So it can do a lot of great things. And yes, it's not the most amazing coverage in the world, but it hits exactly what it needs to hit. The only things that it really can't hit for tons of damage are mons that are like resisting Fairy and at the same time are ghost types. So there's not very many of those out there. Anyways, it also is my cleric for the team. Gets Wish, Heal Bell, gets Sticky Web like I said before, and it gets Light Screen and I believe Reflect as well. No, not Reflect, never mind. But it's also an amazing special attacker too, with Calm Mind and all the coverage it gets being Dazzling Gleam, Psychic, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower. So I'm excited to use Slurpuff. It'll be a really good supportive Pokemon for my previous 5 mons and really help with the longevity of my Dialga and my Mew. So I'm excited to see what we can do with Slurpuff. Moving on though, I knew I needed to have a Pokemon that had a water typing because I needed a bulky water because Greninja obviously isn't going to take many hits and I want to have a way to deal with water types. You look at my team right now, I have Tangrowth and I have Dialga basically, and I don't want either of them getting burned or toxic, so I need to be careful with that. I also didn't have a ground type, so obviously there's tons of water ground types. I want to get the best one for me. I'm running out of points at this point. I think right now I would have maybe like 35-ish points, something like that. I could be around that range, so I need to be careful with what I draft. And at this point, I could have gone something like Seismitoad, which is I think like 7 or 8 points, but I decided to go with Quagsire. And I went with Quagsire mostly because it gets Unaware and Water Absorb. Obviously, Unaware is probably one of the best abilities, especially in an Uber's format when there's tons of mons that want to set up all over your face and just kind of like sweep you from there. Having Unaware Quagsire is going to be amazing. And if I run a Rindoberry with potentially like Earthquake or Scald, potentially something to burn them, I don't think I get Whirlwind or I get Haze though, I know that. So I can run Haze, which would be nice. And yeah, it's just an incredible mon in terms of what it is. And it was only 4 points, so I will take that all day. Really cheap, really awesome. I had it last season. Its stats leave a lot to be desired, but it's good enough. And yes, it doesn't get Stealth Rocks. I would like the ground type to have Stealth Rocks or Hazards, or I guess Rapid Spin, but it's not possible right now, especially with the team I have. I'm so top heavy, so I need to make sure that I had a mon that was really solid. And Quagsire fits the bill, and I felt like it was gonna get sniped, so I had to make sure that I picked it up now, especially because I think at this point, someone who's on the way down before my next pick, they had a chance to pick up Quagsire. Like they didn't have a water type or a ground type, so I need to make sure that I was able to pick that up so they wouldn't snipe it because I really needed it. But moving on though, our next pick though is going to be Rotom Spook. Now Rotom Spook is obviously the not worst of the Rotoms, but it has the least amount of stats. 91 speed, it's faster than the other ones. It's only got 95 special attack and 50 HP. 77 on both its defense. It's not amazing, it's got very poor stats, but its typing is pretty good. Electric and Ghost is really strong typing. Its stab is excellent, gives me Volt Switch, gives me Ghost Spammer, which is nice, especially for teams without good normal or dark types. And basically, it's my way of kind of just saying, I can kind of like take your Rapid Spins. I have a way to handle your fighting types. I have a way to handle your ground types as well. Outside, I actually have an immunity now. Like this is my first immunity to ground, which is big. So yes, it's Levitate. I have to be careful for like Mold Breaker and like Terravolt and Turbo Blaze, whatever it is. But I'm excited to use Rotom. It's my first time using a regular Rotom, and I'm excited to use like potential Will-O-Wisp Hex set or Toxic Hex. It gets Pain Split. It's pretty fast. The Trick set is nice. It gets a bit of coverage like Dark Pulse and like Signal Beam, But other than that, it's pretty much just its stab options and hidden powers. But I'm excited to use Rotom. I've seen it used in pretty creative ways, and I want to see what I can do with it. It gives me the extra type I didn't have before. Same thing with the Ghost type, so I think it's not a bad pick at all. Moving on though to our next pick, we have 4 picks left, a potential for 4 picks left rather. And this just occurs to me, I never mentioned how many points we have. To start off, we have 120 points in this draft. I never mentioned that. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. Sorry, but and you can drop between 10 and 12 mons, so you can have an average of 12 points or an average of 10 points, depending on what you draft. But at this point, I'm dipping down into the super low tiers for my next 3 picks because I have very few points left and I want to grab my Mega, which at this point can wait because I think I'm the last person who doesn't have a Mega at this point, which is big. So I went down there and I picked up Volbeat. Now you're going to say, Volbeat, really? Yeah, I'll take Volbeat. I mean, 2 points, Prankster Defog, Prankster Tailwind, Prankster Encore, Prankster Tailwind into Baton Pass. I'll take that. It's also, I mean, like, my friends, shout out to Scrappy, Tails, Walk, and Pedro. We are the Volbeatles. It's just our crew name that we had in another league that we joined, and I mean, it's kind of stuck ever since. So yeah, Volbeat it is, and I'm excited to use Volbeat for the first time ever. Next up though, I kind of was like rushed a bit, and I was like, screw it, I'm taking this mon. I took Dusclops, thinking I didn't have a Ghost type, even though I drafted a Ghost type 2 rounds earlier, being Rotom Spook, and my bad. Yeah. Anyways, so Dusclops is a bulky mon. It gets Frisk, which is nice, but I'm not going to talk about it too long. It's basically just going to be dropped at some point in the season, 100%. I don't feel like I'm going to be keeping it at all. It was 2 points, which is okay. Gives me an Eviolite user, which is not bad. And it's pretty much going to be setup fodder, which really sucks. So I need to drop it at some point. So that's all I'm going to say about it now. Next up, though, shout out to Aaron because he was the one who was going to draft this. He was talking to me about his plan. Then he decided he was going to go another route. And I said, okay, screw it. I will take this mon. And I took Glalie. Now, is Glalie the most amazing thing in the world? Not really. But it does provide me with Ice Shard. It gives me spikes. It gives me decent coverage and Earthquake and Crunch, and obviously its ice moves. It's, I mean, it's 80 all around, which is not bad. So yeah, its abilities are kind of bad. I'm pretty sure Moody is banned, so that's that. And it gets a good Shaman Sky answer, which is, I guess, important, and a good, I guess, Rayquaza answer because Ice Shard. So I'll deal with it. And then finally, our last pick in the draft. This was my Mega. I really wanted it from the beginning. The second I took Infernape, I was like, this is a mon that would pair pretty well with it. Right now, my fastest mon is Greninja, so I said, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and grab Mega Aerodactyl. Base 150 speed is incredible. It's got 135 attack, which is, again, monstrous. With Tough Claws, you pair that too. That's going to be great. You set up a Home Claws, then you have Swords Dance, not Swords Dance, Home Claws with your accuracy boost and your attack boost, and then you got Stone Edges from a Tough Claws boosted Aerodactyl. That can be adamant natured because not many people have mons that are like over 135 speed. So you need to be over 130 for sure. I know that to even think about outspeeding an adamant Aerodactyl. So yeah, that's our team. We have Dialga, Greninja, Mew, Infernape, Tangrowth, Slurpuff, Quagsire, Rotom, Volbeat, Dusclops, Glalie, and Mega Aerodactyl. I'm excited for the team and for you guys to join us on this season. It's going to be a really, really interesting one. Hopefully we can, pick up a couple wins. Once again, thank you to Austin for all the help. Thank you to my front office. You guys will see some clips from them at the end of this video. I also want to say really quickly for the Little Cup and the Let's Go League that are going on right now, I am putting a bit of a hold on them. They're not upload required leagues, so I'm not really going to be focusing on uploading them too much. I will get to them, I promise. It's just right now I'm really busy with 2 jobs and school, and the leagues that are starting up being the upload required ones and PCL and BBL, so I want to make sure I have those out. And when I do have time, I will get back to doing top 6s and Pokemon Profile. But other than that, I completely forgot to mention as well, my Z users. My Z users are Rotom, Quagsire, because of Z Haze, and Greninja, and that's obviously, like, it makes sense. And then my last one I have is Glalie, just because I could afford it. I had 1 point left for Z moves, and Glalie fit the bill for 1 point. So I'm said might as well just use that, and that's good enough. So that's my team. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Sorry about that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Our first game is against the Bill Standage, coach of the... I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to butcher it. So he's got a really interesting new team name that's like revolves around like Teddy Ursa and Gallade and friend codes. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and of course subscribe to the channel for more amazing Draft League content. And I will see you guys all next time.
Hey, it's TK or TKO. I'm one of Matt's front office members again, and if I had to choose 2 of his Pokemon in BBL I'm really excited to see him use, it would be Infernape and Slurpuff. The 2 of them are absolutely in my top 5 favorite Pokemon.
What is poppin', fam? Spanik here, and I would like to announce that I will be working with the Matt O'Shea, the coach of the Montreal Milotics, in his team building preparations for the Banlist Battlers League, better known as the BBL. And Amon I really like to see. Amon I'm really looking forward to working with is Dialga. I think that Amon has a ton of potential. Dragon Steel is a very good type combination. And it's Amon Matt has in his draft this season, so hopefully we'll be able to work well with it, and hopefully bring a championship to Montreal this season. So, Spanic out, and I will be looking forward to this upcoming season. Peace!